What are your first initial thoughts, opinions when you hear the term visually impaired or blind people?
I've just, I don't know, I think about like people with the walking canes, I guess, and people that can't see. Yeah.
Why do you think walking canes is the first thought you have? Why is that the first thing that comes to your head?
I don't know. I feel like it's just represented on the media that people that are visually impaired like use walking canes to help them like navigate. Yeah.
So, why do you feel the media portrays this image?
Because that's like the worst case scenario is people that are like they can't see at all, so they're using walking canes. So I feel like it's just I don't know, something that you see because that's the most severe thing.
Okay.
That they need glasses and they can't see.
Why do you think all of them need glasses?
Someone can help them see if they can't.
Okay. All right, Jaden.
No question.
Nope, that's everything I have for you today. Thank you.
There's someone who can't see completely, or there's someone who lost like most of their vision, so they're like medically blind.
Okay. Do you have, do you know anyone who's visually impaired blind?
No, I do not.
Okay, and do you think you've seen anyone, like, out in public anywhere who may be visually impaired blind? And what are your first initial thoughts when you see that?
Yes, I have, and I don't really have any thoughts besides like I just wonder how they get around so good with just a stick and a dog. Because the two people I've seen before have had like a walking stick, like one of those poking sticks, and a service dog.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I feel bad for them. Like, it's such a disadvantage, but I don't know, though. I guess I've heard about, like, working on treatments and stuff, and yeah, try to help people.
And why do you think they're at a particular disadvantage?
Because they can't see as well as, like, as a lot of other people, or, like, can't see at all, so it just makes stuff, like, 1,000 times harder.
Okay, can you give any specific examples of certain things that would be harder for visually impaired blind people?
I don't know, a lot of stuff, like, just walking and, like, knowing where you are, maybe, and, like, maybe trying to, like, focus in school and stuff, and, like, maybe, like, writing down stuff, and, like, I don't know, a lot of stuff.
All right, thank you for your time. Have a good one.
You too.
Peace out. Hello everyone, my name is Kieran and today I will be talking to you all about visual impairments in blind people. So, some of you may be asking, what is a visual impairment? Well, that's what you're here to find out. A visual impairment is a condition that affects the eyes and a person's sight level. The particular visual impairment that I'll be discussing is ocular albinism. And something to know right off the bat is that it only affects males. So any girls watching this is something you don't have to worry about. And it only affects males. It is genetic, so someone in your family has to have, well, preferably your mother has to have the mutant X gene. And then when she gives birth to you, in a sense, it's a 50-50 coin flip. And you either get the mutant X gene and have ocular albinism, or you don't get the mutant X gene and you're fine. And this condition happens one in about every 20,000 male births. So it's not that common, but it still happens enough where people know about it. Some symptoms and impacts to kind of look out for are like red eyes, like abnormal eye coloring, red, pink, white, quick and sudden movements of the eyes and pupils. Sensitivity to like UV lights, flashlights, lanterns, candles, any kind of bright light. Problems with depth perception and being unable to read normal size fonts. So, Mom, I'm gonna ask you a question. What was it like raising a visually impaired child such as, me?
It really wasn't a lot different than raising any other child, but there were small adjustments and accommodations that had to be made from time to time. Extra support with, I remember when you were really young, when the patterns in flooring changed, when it went from maybe a wood flooring to tile flooring, you would stop and start feeling with your toe just because you weren't sure if there was a step there or not. But that's just something that's really minor. In a familiar environment where you had walked around a lot, it was fine. So just small adjustments, not much different. And you also had support from APSI. And a teacher for the blind and visually impaired from when you were about 3 months old was when that support started. So you've always been well supported, and it hasn't been much different than raising another child.
Alright, Mom, could you give a quick explanation of what APSI is for maybe the viewers out there who don't know what it is?
APSI stands for the Atlantic Provinces Special Education Authority, and their job is within the Atlantic Provinces to support students up into the age of 21. From birth to 21, students who are blind or visually impaired is one branch of APSI, and then they have another branch of APSI who deal with and support children who are deaf and hard of hearing.
Alright, and that's about everything we have for today. Thank you.
Growing up visually handicapped for me, I was 9 years old before I realized that everybody was visually, I thought everybody was visually handicapped. I thought everybody see the same as I did because I had two other brothers that were visually handicapped. Living at home, and I had a brother way older than us that lived away. Through him, we became known to the Institute for the Blind, and our vision was checked, and times as getting driver's license. You can't get a driver's license, you can't pass the eye test. When I first became a father, that was a big punch in the belly for me because I realized I could never take my daughter to go somewhere just me and her. We always had to have a third party. Always had to have a driver. Sometimes when you need something, you need to go somewhere. It definitely makes you realize that life has its holdbacks when you're visually handicapped, but I was fortunate in learning a lot of different things. I'm only partially blind, so I learned to use my other senses. I learned my hearing and especially my feel, but I could hear things. Like if someone dropped something on the floor, your hearing senses, it seemed like they would say, "How did you find that?" People would say, and I said, well, I heard it when it fell, and you listen to where it rolls. But there's all kinds. There's disappointment, there's hurt, there's sorrow. Sometimes there's even why me, especially when your driver's license is a big holdback. I'm a very outgoing person, so for me not to have no driver's license, it was a big holdback. But in my life after leaving the Halifax School for the Blind, I became a fisherman. So being a fisherman on the water, I didn't need no vehicle. Once I fished on a 50-foot boat, and once you left the land, everything you needed was in that 50 foot. So, and I was gone for sometimes 7-10 days at a time, and that was everybody. I was equal with everybody. I had vision enough that I could do my work and turn around, and I had good shipmates. They looked after me constantly, reminding to lift your feet here and do that stuff. So I'm very grateful. I turn around and I tell anybody today, I've kicked down a lot of doors because of my vision, and hopefully made the road ahead for other visually handicapped people maybe a little easier. In the fishery and in other things that I have done, I've sat on the fisheries board, I've sat on a community fishing board, I've sat on the Harbor Authority for our wharf management, and I've tried to prove that just because we're visually handicapped, that we can do anything that we put our mind to. But yeah, we do need a driver to drive us around. And sometimes it's very frustrating when we would like to take someone to dinner, especially one of our children or a loved one, and you stop and realize when they're younger, now I have grandchildren and things, that there's always vehicle. Yeah, it's in my name. Yep. I got my master number on it, but I need a driver. Doesn't say you can't have a vehicle. It just says that you have no license to drive that vehicle. So, no, with that, I'm more than pleased what I've accomplished in my life through being visually handicapped, and I really, truly hope that I have paved the road and opened up some doors for other people that's coming behind me. Thank you.
All right, that was great. And this next and final part of the podcast will just be me answering some common questions I get when it comes to ocular albinism. So, one of the common questions I get is it permanent? Is the condition permanent? Yes, it is. There are some things you can do to help with this condition, such as like wearing the correct prescription glasses, wearing hats when it's sunny or bright outside, and reading in large texts, or not reading small text for excessive periods of time, thus to avoid hurting yourself and hurting your eyes. Another common question is, well, like, what can a person see? That depends on the individual person's eyesight levels, because like everyone has like varying levels of eyesight. So that can depend on like many things. But like at the end of the day, it's what the individual person's sight level is. It's not a general answer. Are transition glasses needed? That is a good question, and a good answer for that is no, they aren't. I mean, sure, it'll save you money from buying 2 separate pairs of glasses, but for any parents watching this, no, transition glasses are not needed. You can just give your kids sunglasses, and but that are the right prescription, then they should be fine. Will my kid be able to drive? And again, that depends on the individual person's sight level. I know a lot of people that are visually impaired or blind, they cannot drive because there's a certain sight limit you have to, like the minimum sight limit you have to have, and most people do not meet that. So it ultimately will depend on your kid's vision. One more question I do get a lot is, like, this question's kind of this is a very interesting question to say the least, and I'm going to do my best to answer it. So, yeah. This question says, why is ocular albinism genetic? Like, honestly, I have no idea why that is. Like, I don't know why it's genetic. That's just how science works, I guess. And yeah, I don't really have an answer for that one. And this is the last question I kind of get pretty commonly. And it is, does a person with ocular albinism need glasses to see? No, I don't. Like, you can get, like, prescription contact lenses. You can just, like, wearing glasses is not mandatory for someone with ocular albinism. It's just up to the decision of the person or the parents if you have a child with ocular albinism. Like, it's recommended they wear glasses and special glasses with prescriptions. But no, if you don't want them to wear glasses, they don't have to. It's just, like, you might have to help them more with certain things, such as reading. And reading and light management and like light protection and stuff, because they won't have sunglasses to help with the sun's rays and stuff, so extra precautions will be needed when doing those certain activities. So yeah, that's about everything I've got for questions and comments. Well, that's gonna wrap up this episode. That's gonna wrap up this episode very nicely, I think. So yeah, until next time.